It's another wonderful time on the show Health Watch, your number one health program on the station for excellence NTA Lagos Channel 10. And you know how I love to do this with you every week. This week's episode will be more searchlight on the health condition that is affecting a lot of people, millions of people around the world, both men, women, and even younger people. All right. So today, our guest on the show will be telling us how to effectively manage this health condition, which is called diabetes. All right. And plus, we have our interesting segment with Dr. Love. Dr. Love, what do you have for us this week? I wouldn't know, but trust me when I say for the past 3 weeks, we've been having a great time on the show. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll be joining Dr. Love's series on Health Watch. My name is Nkem or Kibi. I'm a regular host. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Me, I feel say family planning. He help husband and wife for good health, so that at least they can last. And in the other way around, now to allow the woman and the man to have the children that they can be able to train. Because if family planning no there, me I know people go born not less than 10 dozen.
Family planning na-enyelu di na nwunye aka ka ha dị ime oge ha chọrọ. Family planning na-eme ka nwaanyị ghara ị na-aya ọya ọbụna ma ọya dị iche iche ma ọya ma ụmụ ọya mgbochi.
Family planning tí à ń pè ní ìtẹ̀tẹ̀ ọmọ bíbí ni pé kí àwa àti ọkùnrin àti obìnrin kò yẹ ká bímọ rẹpẹtẹ ju tí tágbára wò ní ká lọ. Tí a bá máa bí ó jẹ́ méjì mẹ́ta ká bí kọ́lọ́ ká tọ́ ọmọ wa nítorí bí gbogbo tá a ṣe rí ń sìn nǹkan wọn oúnjẹ wọn bọ̀ tí wọ́n bá tá a bá bí ká tọ́ kó yanjú kọ́lọ́ kó fún wa.
Ya kamata su yi family planning saboda suna rage samun damar 'ya'yansu su ƙara girma kamin su samu wasu 'ya'ya su zo gare su. Idan suna yin family plan za su samu sauƙin abun nan gare su, saboda haka ne ake mutane gargaɗin cewa su continue da ko mace wanda yana da mata ya yi matan shi ta je ta yi family planning saboda ta samu sauƙin 'ya'ya haihuwa.
Welcome to Dr. Love series. I'm Dr. Love and I want to talk about a very important topic today. This is avoiding fizzy drinks. We know that in our society, we all crave for sweet things, especially sugary drinks, carbonated drinks. I don't want to mention the names so that someone will not come to sue me. But in Lagos State in particular, on the streets, we see that people who sell drinks are making lots of money daily, especially in the hustle and bustle of our daily lives. When you enter buses, you become hot, you are sweating, you get fatigue, and you look by your right side, across the window, there is a woman carrying sugary, cold, fizzy drinks for you to drink. You are tempted by this, and the amount of it is barely maybe 500 naira, 600 naira, and you are just tempted to take a bottle of drink. Let me tell you what this drink does to your body. The first thing is that just one single drink you are seeing can contain over 10 cubes of sugar you are taking at once, even more. Another thing is that this fizzy or this sugary drink, carbonated drinks you are taking, can increase your obesity, it can increase your cravings, it can even damage your teeth. It could affect your blood sugar level, so you are predisposed to type 2 diabetes. It can also make you to become massively overweight, and on the long run, it might not even do anything good to your body system. Instead, it can even make you more dehydrated. It can even make you to become obese. affecting your liver, causing fatty liver disease. It can affect your kidney, causing kidney stones. It can even affect your heart and predisposing you to hypertensive heart diseases. These are all the effects or part of the effects of fizzy drinks. There is something called syndrome X. That is a combination of many medical conditions or metabolic diseases. Part of it is obesity. Among it again, you have diabetes, and you also have some other medical conditions. So these fizzy drinks that we drink on a daily basis could accumulate in our body system to cause conditions in which we ourselves cannot tolerate. Among this also is that we start to develop blood clots in our system, and people like this have a higher risk of developing what we call cerebrovascular accidents or stroke. So the harm of fizzy drinks from the brain, it can even cause effects in the brain. Some have even associated fizzy drinks or cold sugar drinks to people who are having dementia, having Parkinson's disease, to even conditions relating to malignant tumors such as prostate cancer, breast cancer. Some people might say, how does sugary drink relate to that? It's because these sugary drinks will feed the tumor to proliferate and also metastasize. So I want to advise you all, please, next time you want to take that sugary drink, think best of your health and just think water. I'm Dr. Love, and we always love you. Thank you.
If you're just joining us, the program is Health Watch, reaching you from the station for excellence. All right, so thank you so much, Dr. Yusuf Harun, popularly known as Dr. Love. Thank you so much for that interesting episode. Our guest on the show today is a radiographer in the person of Donald Amadi. You're welcome to Health Watch.
Thank you very much. Thank
now,
you.
I'm wondering, you're a radiographer, you're talking about diabetes. Tell us, what's the, tell us about what you do. Tell us your interest. I see that you want to talk about this topic, and I've been, been having this conversation for a while, and this is a health condition affecting a lot of people right now. So tell us, what do you do as a radiographer, just very quickly?
Okay, as a radiographer, we get to examine patients. And as a medical radiographer, we get to diagnose patients using our machines like CT scans, MRI, X-rays, and we get to meet patients that, when they've reached a critical stage of diabetes, they would have to check their legs, like, performing X-ray procedures just to see if the legs are still in good state.
Okay.
And if not in good state, they may be amputated.
Wow.
And this can be very critical. At the same time, with the effect of diabetes, it can affect some organs in the body.
Okay.
So being a radiographer helps us to realize what's going on. It helps us to identify what's going on in the patient's body.
Thank you so much, Donald. So let's talk about diabetes right now.
Okay.
What exactly is diabetes?
Diabetes in its form is a chronic condition whereby the body finds it difficult to regulate blood sugar in the body. And that blood sugar is what we know as glucose. So glucose in your body is your main source of energy. And your brain, your muscles, your hands, every part of your body that so far it has its cell, it needs glucose to function. And how diabetes comes into play is when the insulin, it's a particular hormone that helps regulate the glucose, that's the sugar, your blood sugar. When the insulin cannot function the way it's properly meant to function, then due to this, sugar gets stuck in your blood. Blood sugar doesn't get the chance to move. Let me explain it this way. Insulin is like a key that allows blood sugar to flow into the cells. So let's say, for instance,
Like a regulator.
A regulator, yes. So let's say, for instance, I'm to come to your house. You invite me over, and you don't give me the key, and I am with 50 people. Let's say the 50 people are sugar. Myself making 51. 51 of us cannot enter into the house because we don't have a key. The key is what you call the insulin. Once the insulin is given to me, that's the key. We can be able to properly enter your house. Let's say we have to renovate your house. We can function properly, clean what needs to be cleaned. But when we are not given the key, we are stuck outside and we can't function. And then what you need us to do in your home cannot be done properly. That's the way your body is. Your body needs sugar to function. When the insulin is not working well, this prevents the blood sugar from coming into your body, and this can cause challenges in the person's body. that is diabetes.
So how do you relate your eating habits to how does it expose you to having diabetes?
To diabetes.
Oh, I always say that we are in a peculiar state where everyone is always in a hurry. You know, I had an in-law that used to say everybody's always hurrying to get up, you know, catch up with something, an appointment, get to work, and so in the course of that, you don't sit down to have a proper meal. So, what would you say that your eating habits can also expose you to, you know, getting diabetes or having diabetes?
That's a very wonderful question, and before we go into answering how our eating habits gets to play a factor in one being predisposed to diabetes, we also have to look at the types of diabetes we have.
Okay.
There's type 1 diabetes and there's type 2 diabetes. People think type 2 diabetes is the worst type of diabetes. However, both are not good diabetes. Diabetes is never good. It's never a good thing for one to have, and there are factors that causes this, which is where we are getting into. So we have the type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is when the insulin, which I mentioned earlier, is little or not available in the body.
Okay.
It's the body fighting against itself. It can be by autoimmune disease, or it can be by genetics. One can inherit it. The second one is the type 2. The type 2, this is when the insulin is getting worked up and worked up. It's trying its best to regulate the sugar that is being given into the body. And how this plays its role is that, how diabetes gets to play a role is when you get to eat too much, you get to eat more processed food, it's carbs, it's, you know, you're eating white bread, you're eating sugar, you're drinking sugar, you keep on taking, and you don't get to exercise, you don't get to burn this energy inside your body. You are not allowing the insulin to function properly. You know, your body works with its principles regarding health, regarding life, and if you don't watch your health, then definitely you are giving room for your body to break down. Insulin has its part to play. So when you get to keep eating food and you don't get to exercise, and as a Nigerian, after a stressful day, we get to eat a lot. We don't exercise. We don't even stroll. The next thing, we carry a bottle of drink. Diabetes doesn't happen overnight.
Okay.
It takes time. It's a build-up process.
Okay.
And the insulin, when we keep leaving it, we don't maintain our body. What happens is what diabetes comes into play, and that's where type 2 diabetes can come in.
Is there a relationship between obesity and diabetes?
Okay, obesity and diabetes. That's wonderful. When you look at the human body, we all have different weights and we have different heights.
Okay.
And there's a way you can calculate it at home. You don't even need to go to the hospital. Whenever you have your meter rule, you have a ruler, there's a way you can measure tape. You can measure your height, and then you can measure it against your weight. You can get your body mass index. The body mass index gives you particular values. When you could research it, or you could check it out, there are values assigned to it. So no matter what your height and weight is, when you check both, you can be able to realize what particular position you are in, whether you are underweight, overweight, or obese. Before you get to obese, one has to be overweight. Overweight is what gives you an alarm that you are entering pre-diabetes mode. And when you get into obesity, you are accumulating a lot of sugar, it shows that your body is accumulating a lot of sugar, a lot of fat, and if nothing is done towards this, you are risking yourself to hypertension, you are affecting yourself, and this in turn shows that the insulin in your body isn't doing what it's supposed to do. So just like when a generator is faulty, you will hear some strange noises. So when some things in your body are not working properly, your body will begin to give you signs, which is why when one is diabetic, they begin to observe some symptoms like they urinate more, they have blurred vision, they have increased appetite, and they have increased thirst. Not in this particular condition, there is a lot of heat, so thirst and urination is going to be frequent, but you notice that it is more than normal. Then they begin to now notice that their wounds are not healing as fast as they used to heal. You know, they call sugar of the eyes, sugar disease of the eyes, glaucoma. Exactly. So this is it. Obesity itself has its role to play in diabetes.
Interesting. You even mentioned the signs and symptoms that we should look out for. Okay, aside from obesity, aside from eating habits, what are the other factors that could predispose the person to getting diabetes?
Other factors that could predispose one to diabetes, Another one is gestational diabetes.
Okay.
Gestational diabetes is what happens in pregnant mothers.
Okay.
As a pregnant mother, one can be prone to diabetes, and why this can happen is because sometimes it may be genetic for the child. Because if a mother has had it, it's likely the child may have type 2 diabetes growing up. Nevertheless, why we are going into diabetes for pregnant mothers is the placenta, the baby, produces insulin, produces sugar, and when the placenta produces sugar, this in turn helps the baby to grow. And at times you notice that when a baby is very big, it can be as a result of gestational diabetes. It can be as a result of gestational diabetes. Pregnant mothers, so with this kind of situation, they have to keep being checked. There are ways you can get checked. Yeah.
So it's a condition that comes with pregnancy. So you're saying after that period, it could just fade away?
Yeah, it can fade away. It can fade away. For some people, I've come to notice that I've met someone whose own did not fade away, and she gets to be treating as it has not reached the critical stage, but because of monitoring and proper observation, she has been taking her insulin, so she is on insulin every time. Like I said, insulin is what helps the glucose to function better.
So I said in my intro that a lot of young people, I use the word younger, right, are coming down with diabetes. Why is it so?
Why it's so is because it's not the way it used to be back then, when you could be back from school and the next thing after eating, even if you eat 4 or 5 wraps of fufu or you eat eba and swallow, you get to go and play.
Okay.
You get to go and play football.
Activities.
You get to go and fetch water. Now what we have to replace that is going to the gym. And to go to the gym, you have to have money to afford going to the gym. How would you do that when you're also going to look for money? So after a hard day's work, you wake up by 5 a.m., you try to get a bus, you get to work by 9 a.m. You have to take a very cold drink, especially in this hot weather. After taking a cold drink, you sit in your nice chair all day. After sitting in your nice chair, you eat food. After you eat food, you get home late by 9 p.m.
Wow.
Where is the time for exercise? You are thinking of getting dinner, sleeping, preparing to cycle the next day the way you did the previous day. This just doesn't give room for your body to function, because you need your body to function for you to function.
Interesting. So going forward now, for those that have their loved ones living with diabetes, I know it's a whole lot to take care of a diabetic patient, right?
Yeah.
But we also know that there is no cure. So how do they effectively manage this health condition?
In managing health conditions, especially critical ones like this, it's never advisable for one to handle this alone.
Okay.
There are communities. I know of one. I don't know if I'm supposed to mention some foundations here, but I know a foundation that, they help themselves. They create a community for themselves to grow. They create a community for themselves to be heard, to be understood. Because when one gets to face a situation on their own, there are emotional burdens that come with that. It's not just only the financial resources that comes in handling this situation, but sometimes you need the help, you need the support of others. And when you see people with diabetes, one way you can help them is giving them the encouragement they need. Helping them, reminding them of their insulin shots. Because imagine, after every time you have to eat, you have to get an insulin shot. It's like a follow-up bag you have to carry with yourself every time, just so you could stay alive. And I have to understand is that diabetes is not everyone's fault. It can happen to anyone. How about those who inherited it genetically, compared to those who maybe because of lifestyle choices? Some people, they didn't have the information. Today you are getting the information thanks to Health Watch.
An NTA10.
An NTA10. You are getting this information, and it gives you the possibility to make better and proper decisions. So for those who have diabetes, you already have it. It doesn't mean you are dead. It doesn't mean life has ended. It just gives you a chance to better live life, knowing that you can make the best choices. And to those who don't have it, it's a good time for you to get to brace up with your health. Take the necessary walks. You don't need to go to the gym. You can stroll. You don't need to run. You can stroll. If every day you get to stroll for 30 minutes, that is good. If 5 days out of 7 days you stroll, and minding what you eat, you try and cut down on the carbs. Include vegetables. You know, people in the village, there's a way they used to handle things. Try and get some vegetables in your system. Try and have some fruits. Whenever you feel like snacking on plantain chips or snacking on, you know, processed foods, get an apple, get an orange, get pawpaw. This helps you. It even gives you nutrients in turn, not just even sugar. It gives you the good kind of sugar that you need. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Excellent, excellent. There's something you said at the last line. Take apples, take fruits. I remember this particular line: an apple a day takes the doctor away.
Yes, keeps the doctor away. An apple a day keeps the doctor
away. Thank you so much. We've been speaking with Donald Amadi, a radiographer that has shared a lot of insights on how to manage diabetes effectively. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Yes, it's wonderful being here.
And that's much you can take on this week's edition of Health Watch. Remember, I normally say that health conscious people live longer. You feel any sign, you don't feel okay, see your doctor. Don't self-medicate. You need to send us a message. You need to reach out to us on okibenkem@gmail.com or SMS only to 0706086547. Thank you for being part of this week's edition of Health Watch. My name is Nkem Okibe. Join us next week, same time, same station. Bye.